There we go. Can y'all hear me all right?
No.
Testing, sweet.
Perfect. So,
I like this.
good morning.
Good morning, Kevin. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Catherine?
I think I'm famous.
I think I'm famous too. I think the programs team is just a little bit famous because we put on NatCon. And we want to thank you all for being here this year. It means a lot to us that you all showed up for an in-person conference. So let's start by giving our attendees a round of applause for showing up. Woo.
Party!
Nice job.
Yeah.
Introduction, go for the gold. You
Thank
know,
My house is in Ohio. You don't want to come there.
So I'm Kevin Monell. I am one of the program coordinators here at SBA.
and I am Deja Joy. You can call me Deja or Joy, whichever one works for you. As long as you don't spell my name with a Y, you will get my attention. And I am also one of the program coordinators here, and I've been here since May. And if you are a breakout speaker, 9 times out of 10, if you got an email, it's from me.
So I'm Kat Dobbs. I'm the one with the ukulele. I said that wrong. It's ukulele. Sorry. And I just got hired in, I think, almost exactly a month ago today.
And my name is Cameron Zibikowski. I am also a new program coordinator for the staff, and I started about a month ago as well.
Yeah, so NatCon is Kat's and Cameron's onboarding. So they're having a great time being trained.
Yeah, basically.
So,
Trial by fire.
It's been fine. It's been fine. We face so much worse in the military, man. This is a cakewalk.
So what we really wanted to do with this breakout session was really give you guys time to talk to us and give you guys the opportunity to ask us any questions that you might have about running your chapter, things that you might want to see at next year's NatCon, how we can really be a help for you. A big thing that we've heard really recent is that chapter members and chapter leaders wanted more contact and wanted to be able to really get to SVA HQ more. And with us kind of being that first point of contact, we really wanted to open the floor to give you guys an opportunity to ask us any questions that you might have, ask us questions that we can actually answer and not tell you that we can't tell you that answer yet, and any questions about initiatives that we might be working on that you might be interested in. So we will open the floor for you to ask us questions, and then we'll all kind of like tag team and answer the questions. So who wants to go first?
If you have one, please come up to the mic because these are being recorded.
Go for it. We are open books with this.
I'll be that person. I'm not
Go.
shy.
I love it.
I love your ears.
Thank you.
They're so cute.
They're the 50th anniversary ones.
I got some too, and it matches my jacket because I'm extra.
So I know that SVA has started a new DEI initiative recently. Yep, you are actually specifically why I came to this session, not
Oh
gonna
my
lie. And you're
goodness.
amazing.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It really is.
I know. And I was curious, with the DEI, what aspects of diversity you're actually looking at? Yep, there we go.
That works.
We'll leave it at that.
No, that works. So I will tell you that I am looking at all aspects of diversity. I will be incredibly honest with our crew. Like our team's chat that we have is literally called the Alphabet Mafia. And so we are very much looking for all aspects and areas of diversity across the board. So I know I talked a lot about minority serving institutions and looking into those, which I have been doing. I've reached out to tribal colleges already. I've reached out to American serving and Native Pacific Islander serving institutions. I've reached out to Puerto Rico already also, and I've gotten contacts at Puerto Rico. Obviously, HBCUs and my close contact with Fayetteville, but I've also done things on the LGBTQIA side. So one of the people that are here, Josh Kinchin, I reached out to him directly, and he's doing direct research with LGBTQIA veterans, both before Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and since the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So we're really making sure that we're pulling the gamut of diversity, but then we're also working with diversity of religion as well. I have my friend who just got done seminary school, and he's actually over in that room doing a breakout session on unconscious bias right now, and he's been walking around with his collar for the entirety of NatCon, and he's very much open to, you know, this doesn't have to be your religion, but we have to make sure that we're being accepting of all people, no matter what their religion is, no matter what their immigration status is, no matter, you know, if they're an American or if they're not an American, you know, no matter where we go, what their language is. And so we're really running the full gamut of diversity because that's what the military has. I've been very lucky to be a spouse, very lucky. And I mean, I've traveled to so many different areas, so many different countries. My family, my mom's from Trinidad, and my biological father is Puerto Rican. And so like Kevin and I, we speak Spanish all the time, and we happily identify with that. Where we have others who, like, they have, you know, Latinx blood or Latino blood, and they might not identify with that community. So we're really making sure that we're bringing in all of that inclusion as much as we can. Anybody else got anything to say?
We're trying to have Spanish Fridays
Yes.
because I can't speak it at all.
And neither can Abby, and she would like to learn.
And we're
And
also
my Spanish is just bad.
I mean, yeah.
It's a work in progress.
See?
And on diversity side too, we're
Better
also
than
working
that.
with diversity and able-bodied status. So whether you have an invisible or visible disability, we're actually working with one of our partners, Lime Connect, to help veterans with a disability make the transition from school to the workforce, providing them with professional development. So after NatCon, you're going to be seeing a lot of SVA Lime Connect connections, and hopefully seeing some type of integration where we see SVA chapter members create their own Lime chapters at their university too, to help those with disabilities navigate
We need that, yes.
navigate the disability center at their university, and then take what they learn and apply it to when they receive a job and make sure they get the accommodations they need to be successful.
Thank you. That was actually one of my follow-up questions, Kevin, was if we were going to include disabilities.
Yeah, so Kevin is actually our disability lead. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yep, which is why I let you do that part.
My other follow-up question is that I know that they mentioned in the main general session, either yesterday or the first day, they blur together,
We know,
that
trust us.
there's a lot of, they were talking about research specifically with MSI institutions. And I was curious as to how institutions are being chosen for that research, and if we were interested in being involved with the research, how we could do that.
Yeah.
Also, I totally agree with being a military spouse. It's awful.
Yeah, it's great.
I was way better being active duty than I am being a military spouse. It's not.
I hear
it's
that
not for me.
so often from so many like dual military families, from women who have, or men who have gone from being active duty and then just being the spouse, and then like, oh my God, like I didn't know that the spouse world was this cutthroat, and it is not fun.
I've just seen the like Facebook groups,
Oh
and they
my
seem
God.
terrifying.
Yes. I don't spouse very well. Like, I will tell everyone that I am like one of the worst spouses, because that would be the absolute last thing that I tell anyone. And like, we were doing our regional summits, and Abby goes, why don't you say you're a military spouse? And I was like, but do I have to? Like, is that mandatory? And it became like voluntold at that point. But anywho, so we actually have a list of minority serving institutions that we got from Rutgers Center for Minority Serving Institutions. And that list is government run. And by government run, I mean Rutgers made the list, and the government was like, oh yeah, that checks, and then they certified them that way. Working with University of Hawaii and Manoa has been amazing. We've been able to also work with, obviously, University of Nevada with Andrew Ho. We're pulling in a lot of different schools. And so like what one of my goals is to really kind of have like a school that is going to be the hub of MSIs in that particular area. So we'll have AANPIs, HSIs, HBCUs, PBUs, TCUs, and then like have like 2 or 3 schools at the top that's going to kind of be our like, this is what our SOP should look like. And the way that research is going to go is it's actually going to be run through us, Rutgers Center for Minority Serving Institutions, and fingers crossed the VBA, and really being able to, you know, reach out to the administrators, reach out to the students, and get their feedback also. And then fingers crossed, as everything goes well, we'll have our first Veterans Representation and Inclusion Summit, which Jared mentioned, and then we'll be able to pull together MSIs, pull together students and administrators from different universities, and really bring about that inclusion, that representation, but also giving you guys an ability to use your voice and find a lot of your history and your military history at your campuses, and showing them just how much military students and military leaders can be a changing force in America. Okay, you guys can go next.
Well, do you have any other questions from the crowd?
I love how.
I have two questions. Jessica Eagles, Chico State University. This
Welcome.
question is for all of you guys. For Kevin and Joy, I kind of want to know more about how much travel is involved in your position and what different kind of projects you get to work on a daily basis. And then for Catherine and Cameron, I'd like to know a little bit more about your onboarding experience.
So, oh, yeah.
Let them
Yeah.
go first. Yeah.
Sure. So, like I said earlier, I started about a month ago. It's been kind of a whirlwind because I had about 2 weeks, and then it was Christmas, and then it was New Year's, and then it was NatCon. So, for me, I really enjoyed doing the outreach and the onboarding. We use a program called Salesforce, which is our CRM that helps us track and manage our student veterans. And so I've used CRMs in the past. I helped onboard one for the VFW Department of Michigan before coming over to work for Student Veterans of America. And so learning how to use Salesforce is interesting to me. But doing that, and then coming to NatCon, and this is my first in-person NatCon. I was a finalist at the virtual one last year for Student Veteran of the Year, but this is my first in-person NatCon, so it's was kind of amazing to me to be able to see the back side of the house, and then also to find out that I was being put in charge of stage managing the entire production, my first NatCon. So,
At 1 month in.
yeah,
We have a lot of faith in the people that we hire. Kevin and I are very like, we're hiring someone good.
I mean, obviously,
Thank
you
you.
got this guy.
and her.
Kat.
And Kat, definitely.
Yeah,
So for me, I've enjoyed the onboarding. Part of the reason I applied to SVA is because it's an organization that, one, shares my values, and which is important to me, but also I've been going to school for pretty much what seems like my entire freaking life, and this is like basically now I get to do I'm still going to school, but now at least I'm getting paid to do what I was already doing anyways, and enjoy what I'm doing. So I'm definitely excited to be part of the team and to be working with these three amazing people.
You're so sweet.
I guess my onboarding was, I think, a little bit different. So while Zibby here had a little bit more time to prepare to come into the role, I was called on a Thursday at 5:30 at night, and Dr. Abby said, "Hey, I got a quick question for you. When did you graduate?" And I was like, "August." And she's like, "Cool. Do you want to come work for SVA?" Yeah, that sounds fun. And so that was Thursday, and I started the next Monday. And so the team had exactly 1 business day to get me up and running, and so that was kind of just like chaos just on there, I think more on there and then less on mine, because I'm just like, okay, cool, I'm just here hanging out, hi, what up? I'm here now. But aside from,
fun.
it was, I mean,
It was fun.
I was okay with that. I was happy to start early. I was happy to start that Monday. It worked out because I think we had 3 people actually starting that day, so it was fine. Aside from that, like the onboarding has been virtually the same. I've never used Salesforce. This is my first adult person job, if you will. If you don't count the military, which I don't even know if that really counts as an adult person job sometimes, given with what we do, but this is like my quote first adult person job, so I'm learning everything on the fly and just taking it in as much as I can and doing what I can to help. I'm pretty sure these 2 are annoyed with us because like every single day it's like, "Hi, do you need any help? Hi, can we do anything to help you guys? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need to do?" And I'm pretty sure we just bother them constantly because we're like little puppy dogs, like, "Hi, can we help you?" And so
Speak for yourself.
it's funny because he's been the one that was asking what can we do to help more than I have. I just kind of accepted it and moved. But
Mine wasn't quite as high pitched though.
no, definitely not. I might have exaggerated a couple of things here and there, prone to doing that. It'd be like that sometimes. But like I said, I've had fun. This is also my first in-person NatCon. My first NatCon was the virtual NatCon, which I think I somehow became numb with that weird girl with the ukulele. It's fine. And now everyone here is like, play the song. And I'm like, I'm busy. I'm sorry, I'm working now. I totally would. But it's been amazing because I've just been bouncing around helping out everybody I can. I always feel like I can do more. But I'm happy to be here because it's like this is the place where I get to be myself and supported not just by the fellow veteran community, but also by the people I work with. And that's not something that I was able to say, that I am not able to say right now with my current unit, because I am still in the Air National Guard after being activated and everything. I have to put that mask on. So being here and just being able to be myself and be accepted for that, that's just an amazing feeling. And I feel so empowered and I believe so strongly in this mission here that I'm really just thankful for it and thankful that they are giving me a shot. I kind of applied as a joke as well because I didn't think I would make it. I didn't think they wanted me. I thought they just thought I was a weird person with a ukulele, honestly. I didn't realize they thought I was cool. That's just going to go to my head now.
Well, Cameron and Kat are truly amazing. The fact that they were willing to come on board 1 month before NatCon speaks to how determined they are in the mission and vision of SVA.
We're crazy.
So,
Both.
Joy and I are really grateful for them because they have taken a lot off our shoulders in preparation for this event. And Jessica, I know you had a part 2 to your question.
Yeah, what was your question for us?
It was, do you want me to say
No, you're good. We can hear you.
how much travel was involved?
How much travel?
And the different projects you get to work on.
So there is quite a bit of travel when we're in person. I started in May as well with Joy. So one of my first travels with SVA was to DC. I'm actually based here in Orlando until the 19th of this month, then I'm moving to DC. So if you participated in our regional summits this year, you saw Joy and I's faces there, so I flew for that. But we're hoping this year that our regional summits are actually going to be in person. So we're picking 5 to 6 cities across the country where you'll go to the nearest city to you in your region, and you will participate in what will be a mini NatCon, where it'll be a more intimate setting with more local chapters. So more info on that to come, but there is quite a bit of travel involved, and it's fun because SVA supports us in every single way. As soon as we leave the door, get on the plane, train, automobile. So it's always a fun experience. We get to stay at really nice resorts, as you see. So they take care of us really well here at SVA. So I never dread travel with SVA. And
Facts.
also I know the people that I'm meeting when I travel are amazing. Every SVA member at a chapter, they're the best of the best in their university community. So I'm always excited to meet new chapter members in person. And I was excited to know that this NatCon is going to be in person because all of you are amazing that I met. So yeah.
I've hugged so many people.
Projects?
Want to take projects? Wait, what projects?
That's what she asked about.
Oh, projects that we have. Sorry, I'm just thinking about travel. That's all I can think about is travel because I'm moving. Projects that we're working on. Our biggest one is our experience cloud. Because if you're, who here is the chapter leader?
How many of y'all went to the session at 9 o'clock yesterday with Dr. Kate? See, that's not good.
Okay, so do you all know how to do a chapter update?
I did, but it never, so I submitted my chapter update to the SBA, but it has never gone.
So we're fixing that with our experience cloud because instead of contacting SVA, you're going to manage your own SVA profile for your chapter.
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I did not attend, but I made my
Did someone have one person go yesterday?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Perfect.
Okay, good.
Kat, you win, right?
No, I ended up having to go
So-
work backstage.
To piggyback on this, with the Experience Cloud, what this does is it allows the chapters to take control of their membership and really provides you as chapter leaders with a tool to help manage your chapter. So your content, it makes networking within your chapter even easier.
Makes networking out of your chapter easy
yeah.
because you can
Yeah.
see you can see calendars from other chapters and what they're doing.
That's awesome.
And even what's in your region, so you could see the calendar for what Nationals is doing for that, anything in that region that you can jump into. It allows you to apply for scholarships, or your people to apply for scholarships when they're open. We have 2 scholarships that are open now, I think, or
Yeah.
opening.
They're opening
they're-
at the end of NatCon.
Yeah, at the end of NatCon, they're going to open our Experience Cloud. So instead of doing a Qualtrics form to apply for a scholarship, you're just going to
Go
use,
into the Experience Cloud and use that.
and it's a quick form, and it makes our jobs easier too, because
As
instead
a
of,
former chapter leader, it just makes it easier too. It's like, we have both been chapter leaders at our chapter, and when I was doing it all for myself, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, it'll be a great tool if it can be utilized properly by the chapters themselves.
So the biggest thing with any program like this is, as a chapter leader, it's important that you guys keep your chapter's profile updated. At a very minimum,
Your leadership.
my recommendation would be to, at the end of each semester, to go through and do a scrub of your membership so that your membership's accurate going into the following semester, and so that you can remove those who have graduated,
Not removed.
or not
Set them
removed,
as
sorry,
alumni.
set them as alumni, thank you. So they'll be, let me rephrase that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they'll
I
be,
have to be added into my chapter and then
Yeah.
put as an alumni now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, we still want you there, just as an alumni.
yeah, we still want, we love our alumni. We don't want to lose your contact information, because if you are an SVA alumni, I'm looking at Jessica, she participated in our Leadership Institute this fall. We may come back to her in a few months and ask her to participate as a mentor. And we can only do that if we keep track of our alumni. So that's why we don't,
Experience Cloud is so super important. Like, that's what we're trying to say. Like, if you haven't done it, make sure you do it, or someone does it.
and we'll be providing trainings too during the spring semester. So you're going to see us provide virtual resources, and we're also going to be doing virtual coffee chats where we will pull you in, we'll send out invites, and you could come in on Zoom, and you will be able to see the Experience Cloud from our end, and we could walk you through it too.
Also, make sure your chapter advisors are added to that too, just so that way there's some sort of continuity if something were to happen.
Or maybe I should make sure my chapter advisor added me.
That too.
Yeah.
If your chapter advisor
That
got it,
too.
then make sure they add you too, because chapter leaders, and I believe advisors are the only ones that should
So-
be able to add.
correction on that. The two people that can add members in this platform are the chapter president and the chapter advisor. And the reason for that is so that there's a
Clean
control in
information.
place, and that accurate information is getting input into the system, and it can be moderated.
Yeah.
So it's not only to help us, but it's to help you guys manage your chapters effectively.
But all members should have a profile, because that's how they'll apply for scholarships or any other opportunities.
So I am the chapter president, I just
Perfect.
my advisor.
It's all
I
good.
don't assume he.
Yep, so he can add you, and then the both of you will be able to add everybody else.
Yep.
It'll take a while for us to get through all the requests and everything like that, so please give us time because NatCon's happening, and then that'll be probably most of our next week.
Yeah, there was like 60 of us yesterday morning at the thing, and it took them almost an hour to get all of us inputted, so. And there was
Sounds
like,
about right.
There was about 4 of them doing it. And
Yeah.
it's great from what I saw for the beginning. That was actually one of the reasons why I wanted to come to talk to you guys, because I absolutely love that. For those of you guys that did the NatCon last year, the virtual setup that it was awesome. I loved it. One of the suggestions that I submitted to you guys last year was to keep something similar to that, where we can have state regions like the state or counties with all the colleges in that county breakouts in a group like that. I'm hoping that this new platform that we're creating will have something similar to that, so I can communicate with my region colleges, so I can reach out to my SBA president that's over here and my SBA president that's over here. So if say I'm the new president, which I've been the president for the last 2.5 years now for my chapter. Thank you. But if anybody needs help from me, because I've been there doing it for so long, especially through this whole COVID stuff, you know, I'm there to help them out, and they know, oh yeah, we know that this guy's over there, he can do this. I want to be there for the other teams, and I want to be able to open that door for them. But there's really no platform that we really strongly have other than, what's that gaming web, Discord.
Discord.
And I'm not, that's, whatever.
So I sat with Dr. Kate this morning, who's actually running Experience Cloud. It's actually one of the notes that he had in there. So that's when they're going to be working on the back end. So right now it's launched, but when we go through different iterations of it, you're going to have that capability to see who's in your region and get in contact with people, with other chapter leaders in your region
And that's a
as
big
well.
reason why we're also doing regional summits in person, so that we can make sure that we're getting the people that are in that area and in that region in the same room together. And it's another reason why it's gonna be like a mini NatCon, is because you're going to have everyone from that region within that same space. So you can network, you can say, oh, this is who I'm sponsored with, oh, this is who I've talked to. And then saying, okay, well, this is where my chapter is, this is what we're doing, these are events that we're planning. So a big thing that we're gonna ask you guys to do is plan your events early, or try and have like a tentative date, bring them with you so you can invite other chapters to your events also. And really expand, that ability to kind of grab onto different people at different areas depending on where you're at and where you're located. Especially with where you are with the DC area. I know that we have tons of colleges there with chapters, and we're really trying to create kind of like a consortium of the DMV area because there's so many student veterans in that area.
Yeah, to echo what he said, that was the only thing I was disappointed about with this NatCon that I loved about the virtual, is we had those breakouts, the president's breakout, and got so much great information from the other presidents that I've utilized in my chapter.
Yeah, I didn't shut up in that one, did I?
No, but it was great info. It was really great info. So one of the things, Joy, probably you know a little bit too much about what's going on behind the scenes, but I think that our school doesn't have a buy-in. They have this inclusive excellence, but the military really aren't included in that inclusivity. And I feel like, because it's really a win-win, but they're not seeing that yet, where if they support the military-connected folks, that will really boost their bottom line, their revenue, and bragging points, while also helping those individuals. So in order to do that, we need that quantitative data to show, what we bring to the table. Mm-hmm. It's difficult for me at American right now because they haven't been tracking who's hired on as military connected, who their student military connected are, unless they're receiving benefits. And then we don't even know who those students are unless they join. We're not given emails.
You're not allowed to know that information.
So-
Some clubs
Yes and no.
do, and
Sort
some
of,
clubs
to a point.
don't.
So with that, my recommendation, and because Grand Valley went through a similar thing where they were only tracking at the time military affiliated students that were using their GI Bill benefits. One of the big things is engaging with university leadership, because that's how you drive that change or start the fire, so to speak. But the university has the ability, or they should, so for what Grand Valley does is, in the application process, you can choose to identify as a veteran. If you're a veteran, you can choose that as one of your identifiers. So you're opting in, so to speak, rather than the university making it mandatory.
Right. We actually have, so the president didn't ever respond, but we did have diversity and inclusion, who is adding questions to the campus climate survey. They are so I've been told, going to add a question such as that to enrollment and to the hiring process. Mm-hmm. So that's great, but really I was bringing it up because any data that you have that could help in advocating, and as you know, Joy, I've invited you to the table, and they didn't want to hear what SBA had to say. So some way to see that you're not a threat, we all want the same thing.
So,
Yeah.
so one way, there's many ways you can go about this, and I understand it could be frustrating because they don't see that you want the same thing as well at the very end of the day. Right. So not to plug one of our Tolly Award winners, but Fayetteville State University. You gotta just show them. You gotta send them an email, send them a link, saying, "Look at this school. Look at the recognition they got at NatCon, just by providing for their military community." And then also start from the bottom up. Reach out to your student leaders on your campus. A lot of big universities have student senates. If you could buddy up with the student senate president or the president of the student body, those individuals usually sit on the board of directors for the university, or they're very close to the board of directors, just by the nature of their position. And if you could buddy up with them and just tag along to different events, make your face known. I know it's frustrating because it's easy to ignore people these days. It's easy to ignore emails, but you have to get creative, and sometimes you just gotta force things into their face. So Fayetteville State University and Grand Valley, they're two of the prime examples of university leadership embracing not just SVA, but student veterans on their own.
Military-connected students
Yeah,
as a whole.
military-connected students. So sometimes you just gotta show them and say, hey, look at the potential here, and look at what you're missing out, and call them out on that. You gotta advocate for yourself, and
I
sometimes,
would also say with that too is we put out surveys
And
here
talk
at
into the mic.
SVA. And those surveys are available for you. So like we have statistics on how many, what our GPA is, how many military connected students are in school, how many are using the GI Bill, how many are parents, how many are working while they're in school. We have all this information and it is on our website, but if you need it sent to you directly, just let us know, we can send it to you. But we do have all of this information from our surveys.
Yeah, the schools probably want to see money,
Data.
like they want
Well,
to know the money.
So, true, and the information Joy's talking about is going to show them where their ROI is, their return of,
Yep,
yep,
return
so
on investment. Mm-hmm.
Return on investment, so.
Yep.
That ROI is what the university's gonna look at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when they see, and I went through the same thing with, President Mental was very receptive on veterans issues, but she also, it was a no-brainer for her because she looked at the data that was provided, and we've got better GPA, like Kat said, better GPAs overall than your average student. We show up to class more than your average student,
You're more dedicated.
and you're more dedicated, and
Higher
there's
salaries
typically a
and
higher
everything.
graduation rate.
Is higher also.
Yeah. And so, and the GI Bill is a guaranteed source of income, so the return on investment is quite high for these universities, and it's just foolish to turn a blind eye to that. So when you show them this data, that should help hopefully drive your case.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Of
of
course.
course.
Anyone else have any other questions?
I just haven't seen, we recently did this, so our university built a task force.
can you come up to the mic just so they could pick it up for the recording? Thank you so much.
So, I am from Washington State University, and recently we built a military task force where we connected with different parts of the campus to go to the leadership. We are having an issue because we have over 1,000 veterans and 1 certifying officer. Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
and we don't have a defined.
We have over 5,000 students that utilize post-9/11 GI Bill benefits. We have 2 certified.
Yeah, so we had to do a lot of advocating, and so we started with building a task force, and on our task force, we actually have the Chamber of Commerce.
Nice.
We connect with the local community, so then, because then we can bring all of that to the president and the provost, and then start that process. And so
Absolutely.
the success story is they've authorized an emergency hire for us.
Nice.
So, and then the
Awesome.
reestablishment of our CSO, so they will then become the director, and then we're advocating for their pay to balance that.
Another recommendation I would make for your university specifically, due to the staffing shortage, which is still challenging even with the new hire, I would say. I would recommend having them check into the VA's work study program. Okay,
Oh,
awesome,
good.
because that is a great way to help offset some of that workload, and put money back in the pocket of veterans and have it be tax-free.
Yep.
So,
True.
Another question here for my VP, Shanika Williams. I'm sure everybody noticed that there are a lot of tech companies out in the SVA campus, and we were wondering if there'll be different areas like healthcare will be represented in the next NatCon.
So the companies that you see out in the exhibit hall are actually our sponsors. So it's outreach by our development team who reach out, and these are usually pre-existing connections. But if you have a connection, I know you just started a new job at a hospital, so if you want to reach out to your hospital leadership, or if it's a big healthcare group, so here in Orlando, it's RMC. That's the big healthcare organization here. We're always looking for new partners, not just sponsors, but just people to work with who to provide advice, and that will go to our development team. Calvin Jensen, he's our development manager, and those are connections that we're always looking for. So if you don't know who to contact, quite honestly, the programs team is more than willing to take on any questions, because we generally, if we don't have the answer, we know where to point you to. So
I think the other thing is that we did have like healthcare type people that were supposed to be here, but then a lot of the new variant things started happening, and so we have some exhibitors that actually aren't here because of that. I will say that we're wanting to expand a lot of our different sponsors so that we're able to like fully represent what the job field is for our student veterans, because we have so many different student veterans taking different classes. But the top 3 that we have right now are because those are the top majors that student veterans are signing up for. And because we have that data, that's what we're bringing in to make sure that we're kind of like balancing out the majority of people in kind of like what their majors are and, you know, where they're at in their early career field.
to piggyback on that too, if you do have questions and need to contact us, in addition to being able to reach us through the Nationals phone number, you can fill out the Contact Us form on SVA's website, and that goes directly to our Salesforce inbox that we all manage. So,
Also, if you work for any like major companies, most of them have like veteran resource groups, and that's going to be the people you want to contact, to have them contact us so that we can get that. Like, I've got a couple of connections with other companies we just weren't able to get into exhibitors like right now. One is a tech company, and I don't even remember what the other one is, which is really funny because it's my mom's company. I just forgot what kind of company it is, but point is, so like I've got connections that I'm going to be starting to leverage as well to try to get more stuff, because as a person who graduated with a healthcare administration degree, I also would love to have more healthcare related
Same.
places here.
I agree. I mean, I have my degree in psychology, and I'm going for my PsyD, so I get it.
The SBA portal that just opened up also has contact SBA.
Yep.
Contact them.
Yep.
That's the best.
Thank you.
I'm advocating that.
Thank you.
Yep, send it to us. We will definitely try to get back with you between 24 and 48 hours. We've been pretty good with that, with the exception of the week of NatCon. But for the most part, we really do make sure that we send back out anything that gets sent to us. We send back out emails to get back to you guys also.
A lot of the examples that you mentioned, are you able to create a list of like, whether it's by school or however you want to do it, so that we know the precedent? I mean, we're trying to network with each other and find out what we bring to the table, because everyone's a little bit different. And of course, every school will be different as far as their inclusion. But it would be really nice to know what those precedents are.
So are you asking kind of like seeing what another school has done and then trying to like mimic that at your own school?
Exactly. Like he's saying, bring to them what these other schools are doing and show them that what's possible. And the other thing I just found out yesterday, and maybe most know, is that I was unaware that the VA gives the school a certain amount of money per student.
Correct.
Where's the money?
That
and
would
how
definitely be
and
a school's question.
how do we find out what that dollar amount is, how much that is, and hold the schools accountable for supporting us with those dollars?
Yes,
Go public with
exactly.
this
The certifying officials should definitely have that information. And I would also say making sure that you know who your certifying official is and being able to have that communication, that relationship with them would definitely help with that. I would also say that if you're putting your information into the platform, other schools are going to be able to see kind of like and see what you're doing, and then you'll be able to talk to other chapter leaders, and then that way we can have like, oh, you're a career liaison, let me connect you with my career liaison. You know, you're a disabilities liaison, let me connect you with my, and then you guys can really start having that intimate connection and you know, force feeding out that information that you have. But we have to get everybody in Experience Cloud first, and then really get you guys all connected. That's kind of like our big thing, especially at this NatCon, and it's why we had a whole breakout session for it, is because once all that information is updated, at that point, you know, I mean, of course we're gonna be putting out other iterations, but then your contact with your peers, you know, from anywhere from DC to Hawaii to Germany, Japan, wherever, it's kind of limitless at that point.
It's like the Google Doc on steroids.
Yeah, exactly.
She had mentioned earlier that we did, during the virtual NatCon, we had a breakout with presidents, and you spoke. The year before, we had another a breakout, which the virtual breakouts were great, but there wasn't as much personal interaction with each other, which we all know that, you know, there's a little handicap there.
Yeah.
But the year before in LA, I thought the vice president and president breakout that we had there was great. We had great discussions. I learned a lot of little techniques that I brought back from mine, and I shared some of mine, and we broke out those. So I think that's where you're trying to get at. And from my experience over this last year and a half of going to the regional summits and the NatCon and the leadership institutions, you get to make those networks, and you actually talk about those when they're not 100% just video, but there's actually some Zoom messages that you get to do that. So I'd highly encourage everybody to participate in those, because that's where we get that stuff.
So for that, if you want one at NatCon, like if you want a specific breakout for presidents and you want a specific breakout for VPs or whatever it is, put in a speaker request. I handle all of that. If there's one president that says, hey, we want to do a breakout and invite all of the presidents of the chapters, all you have to do is say, all right, here's what our idea is. Can we get it into the programming? Sure, like just send it to me. If there's one career disability, if there's one career liaison, if there's a disability, if there's a DEI liaison, and you're like, we want this breakout, just email it to me. I'll put it in there. That specific person will be listed, but we can put in the description that you're inviting all the chapter presidents. You're inviting all of the vice presidents. You're inviting all of the chapter advisors for schools. Like, you know, just send it to me. You know what I mean? Because you send it to me first, and then I will add it. I can't just add it without someone that's definitely going to be there. So if you send it to me as a proposal, I can put it in there, and then you can put in the description, this is for all vice presidents of an SVA chapter. Perfectly fine with that. And I would say do it by different categories. Do one for presidents, one for vice presidents, one for administrators, one for advisors, do one for all of your liaisons, and then do one that's just, you know, for chapter members as a whole. We can do one for first year student veterans. Whatever you guys want to do, just send it to me, and then we can get that put in. Yep, that goes for y'all on camera too, in case you guys are watching this later.
I mean, there's also going to be a survey that's going out, so if there's stuff that you want to see too, please put everything in the surveys that are going to be coming out, because we'll be reading those and be making those notes too. Because people have told me things, and I've already forgotten half the stuff that people have told me. Because I am so busy, and I fell face first into bed and asleep almost with my shoes on yesterday.
Also, please look out for our regional summits this summer, because that's going to be your in-between NatCon, between this NatCon, next NatCon, your opportunity to network with your regional chapter leaders. Our regional summits are geared towards the leadership in the chapter. So if you want that connection, please, please, please attend regional summits this summer.
That's already
15
open.
minutes.
I think I just applied for it.
Nice.
Oh, perfect.
I'm down with that. It's probably in the Experience Cloud, that's why. All right,
Does
that's about.
anyone else have a question before I jump in again? Because I don't like being like on my call.
Go ahead.
I mean, and then if you do have a question and y'all didn't get to answer it, email us at programs@studentveterans.org.
So I actually wanted to jump back to the certifying official
Sure.
issue. So I don't really know the process for how certifying officials like work and how many are supposed to be there, and like if that's a university process or if that's like a VA
There's
thing.
a set amount of certifying officials per veteran that you
student.
gotta have,
Yep.
and yours is way under.
Oh
and-
no, I know that it is.
Yours is
I
way
am
the
very
front.
aware.
To give you an idea on this, Grand Valley has like 450 veteran or military affiliated students. We have 4.
What the heck?
Yeah,
That's
no,
a lot.
we've never had that many. And the entire time that I have
school are
been
you at?
Old Dominion University,
In Virginia?
Yes.
Next to Norfolk?
Yes.
And you have one.
we have 2.5 because we have
For
one that's in
5,000
training.
students?
Yes,
Really?
that are using VA benefits. Yes,
Where's Catherine? Get her in here.
she knows.
Another breakout, and then
Trust
she's gonna
me.
break out after this.
Trust me, she knows.
Yeah, go for it.
Wait,
Kate, step up to the mic, please.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
So you look up the certifying officials manual that's provided by the Department of Veterans Affairs.
Oh yeah, I have that in my email.
Yeah, and that's how it gives the ratio, the current ratio as it stands, and this is what we prefer a university to have. In
Okay.
addition,
It says prefer.
yes,
Damn.
yep, that's the problem.
Okay. All
So
right.
it's preferred.
No, that's an important.
This is important though. This is good for us
yeah,
to
yeah.
know.
So
because
We will take it to our government team.
Dan, yep.
Yeah, so
H&M,
there's-
we're coming for you.
there's
Go
a
for
big
it.
Hold on, I'm
problem.
writing it down.
So we learned that there needs to be some policy changing taking place so that we can have better support.
Send us this
So,
information.
Okay.
with the policy changes, also, I'm going to shamelessly plug the VFW and SVA's
Yes.
Legislative
Mhm.
Research
Mhm.
Fellowship
Himself.
Program. So, I was one of the 2020-2021 cohort based on my proposal for improving the VA's patient advocacy program. So, there's 2 bills in Congress that have resulted from that to fix that. But highly recommend if you're interested in, if you don't think something's right with how policy is written, or particularly as it pertains to the VA, please get involved with that program. So unfortunately, it is a joint VFW SVA, so you have to be VFW eligible to participate in this fellowship. However, I would strongly encourage applying for that fellowship next year if you're interested in making a change. It is a great program.
And if you're not VFW eligible, we have the PLP that also is a similar thing, that you don't have to be VFW eligible if you're like me and a career guardsman that hasn't done anything yet.
So and then
Keyword, I will do something.
along with that, we also went to the Department of Veterans Affairs and found that information, and then we built a survey that we then used at the center to build an establishment of how many veterans are using the center for how long, and then we looked at the finances, because I believe our university gets $6 million from student veterans a semester. Yeah, like that's it, when they pay tuition from the GI Bill, and so we presented that information.
Students, and they have 1, and that's 6 right there, and y'all have 5. Oh,
Yeah, can you imagine? So, and then we looked at, because when you establish as a VA, a GI Bill institution, there's certain things, and then we started requesting audits, which sucks because the CSO has to do all this auditing information,
yeah.
but we've now failed 3 audits, like because we don't have enough certifying officials.
So-
That's how we had to do it.
What,
That is amazing, though.
That's
Like
awesome.
that work.
So-
It's amazing. I know it's a lot, but
Yeah, and it took us 5 years. Like, this has been a 5-year journey.
Ma'am.
Yeah.
and the risk for universities too, when they're
Misconstruing the numbers?
not even misconstruing the numbers, but when they're failing audits like that continuously, they run the risk of
Yes.
losing, certifying official status, which means
Exactly.
they can't accept GI Bill money anymore.
we
And
have an issue like that that I've been working
Yeah.
on for a few,
Yes.
like a good.
And
like,
that's
so if that
actually-
isn't a good enough reason.
and that's why we did the audits, is to help further that your university is failing to treat and represent our veteran culture well. What are you going to do about it? And that's what we brought to the president and the provost. And then we are demanding a 5-year plan So not only the emergency employment, but we actually are requiring them to sign policy to establish more people over time as the money allows.
I would love a breakout session like that for next year's NatCon, number one, but number two, I'd also love one for school certifying officials. So like if y'all are talking to, like, if there are any advisors or presidents in here, get a school certifying official breakout, and then we can have them in here also, so that we can make sure that everyone is getting all this information, because they're not in here right now and they're not getting it.
Yeah.
And I doubt they're gonna watch the video. Some of them do. I know we have one here.
Well, I've done certifying. So,
I'm about to say, I know
Yeah.
for a fact that there's definitely one here, because they came up to me and spoke to me after my MSI panel. So I know that there's at least one.
Yeah, my school
bring
will
'em.
not let my certifying officials come here. There's no way. They barely let us come here. Like, we have to really leverage, because we have a lot of members in our
Yeah.
SVA chapter. We're a
Here.
huge school. And so, like, we had to, because in the SGA bylaws, we're only allowed to send 6 people to any type of, like, convention or anything. Don't ask me these
So-
questions. Like, I hate my SGA.
So
But that's-
your SBA,
Sorry.
your SBA also has the ability to amend those bylaws.
Oh, no, I know. I've talked to them, like, for a couple years now. They're kids. Like, anyway, that's beside the point. So one of the issues that we have, because we don't have the certifying officials, is that our certifying official turnovers are also ginormous.
Yeah.
Like, in the amount of time that I've worked at our Military Connection Center and been on campus, we have turned over certifying officials, which is 4 years, by the way. We've turned over certifying officials 5 times.
Jesus Christ.
Because they don't want to stay there, because they're not getting paid the money that they deserve for the work that they're doing. They're overloaded. And then on top of the fact that they're certifying officials, all of our certifying officials have double duty because they work in the registrar's office. So they also have responsibilities in the registrar's office that are not related to their certifying official duties.
So they're
And-
not actual CSOs.
No.
It's a secondary.
Very
Yes.
duty. That's ridiculous.
Yes, yes, it is.
ODU?
And so they're always, like, my favorite certifying official is Kate McKee. God bless her, because, like, she puts up with so much crap. Like, I've heard so many horror stories from her where I could not do her job. I could not. And I don't know how any of the certifying officials stay there, because I wouldn't. And so I don't know, like, I've talked with my university president, I've talked with our VP for student engagement. Like, they know that we have these issues, but they're not doing anything to fix it.
So,
And I understand that some of
Go on
it is
strike.
that they don't have the,
Go on strike.
what is it, the budget, they don't have the, like, budget to be able, because they didn't budget for new employees. So they
So-
can't hire new employees.
oh, wait, please speak into the
Wrongful
mic
budgeting.
if you're gonna, yeah.
Go for it, Kat.
Well, real quick, I'm just gonna add, our government team, our GA and policy team is amazing.
Absolutely.
Please
and
tell them
since,
this information.
well, you can even email the programs team if you don't know their contact,
get it to them.
and we could forward it to them as one of our legislative priorities for the coming year. If this, if this is good, because we can't promise anything will get done in this Congress, knowing how Congress works, but once it's on the policy team's radar, it usually stays with us until either the bill dies and then we'll baby it again for a little while, or it'll get passed. So it seems like it's an issue not just at your two school, but if you guys have this issue, it's going to be an issue everywhere else. So it'll be better suited for our policy team to take on.
The other thing that I will say policy-wise is the American Legion, every year at their, I believe at the beginning of the year, they ask Legion members to send in what policies that they want the American Legion to work on for that year. And if you go through, if you're part of a Legion, I'm part of the auxiliary, my husband's part of the Legion, and we work very closely with the Legion, and Jared is a Legionnaire. If you are a part, nice. If you're a part of a post and you have something that you want to go up, you write up something simple. If your post approves it, they send it up to the state. If the state approves it, then they'll send it up to national, and then that will go on national's like Congress policy thing that they have for that year. And the thing is that with the Legion, because they don't have many members that are our age or students, they're not able to really see where these issues are. So if you're not part of the Legion, and you can be, 1,000% suggest it, because they work directly with us and our VA team and our GA team also.
And
Additionally,
that goes for the VFW also.
It does go for the VFW, and we all work together on policy things. If you ever see like Jared at a policy thing, you'll also see the American Legion and the VFW. So if you have things like these, aside from giving it to us, give it to them too, because they will work for you, honestly.
And additionally, the VA or the VFW and the American Legion, or like, if you go to those individual posts, if you're struggling to get to NatCon and stuff like that, they are a great way to go fundraise and things like that. That is literally how my chapter got here. I got a shiznit load of money.
And I did a whole like coffee
From
chat of how to talk to your post about getting to NatCon. We have 3 minutes,
All right,
y'all.
Keep it simple.
Go for it.
So the VA also requires that when you accept GI Bill benefits, a certain portion of that tuition goes back to your certifying official. So when you say there is not funding, that's an inaccurate statement because of the
Exactly.
guaranteed income that comes from the GI Bill recipients.
Exactly.
That funding has to be used
For the CSO.
Audit them.
Yes.
How do we get
Okay.
the audit? Like, I've been asking for audits and they're not listening to me.
Who are you asking?
Google it.
No.
Center for Student Engagement.
Wait, let's get this last question before we run out of time.
One comment on that too is I think you can find that also in the GI Bill handbook, and you
Yes.
can get it in black and white that you
Yep.
can hold your institution
That is
accountable.
true. You
As
can also
well
go to
as
your VA center and like bring your VA in also.
yeah, as well as the money that they're receiving, they get a kickback of every student they certify, and they get a budget. We get like 12,000 off of 700 students at Baylor, and that money has to go to veterans on
Yep.
campus.
It's mandatory.
And it's in black and white, and you can hold
And
them
it's not
accountable.
preferred. It is
Yeah.
mandatory.
Yeah. I had a question about like 501c3s. So I'm a staff advisor at Baylor, and I'm curious if you all have had any chapters navigate that process. Every once in a while when we're doing fundraising, that can be a challenge. but-
So 501c3s are amazing. I'll
Okay.
start with that because it's a great way to fundraise for your chapter.
Yeah.
That being said, there's a couple things that come into play with that. It is exceedingly difficult to maintain a 501c3
Yeah.
as a student veteran organization at the chapter level because of how high chapter turnover is and the requirement to recertify your C3 status each year.
Okay.
So 9 times out of 10, the chapters that I've seen that have done it, it falls by the wayside when you don't have an active board
Yeah.
that's on top of it each year. However, the other thing too is that typically requires an off-campus account, and depending on your university, you may not be able to do that as a student organization. Grand Valley, we're able to, so the Laker Vets is, we've registered as a business,
Yeah.
and we have an EIN number.
Yeah, we got the
And
same,
so,
yeah.
we're not 501c3 though. However, what we do for donors and whatnot that to try and bring in donations and sponsorships is we have them donate to our organization through the university because the university's 501c3, and those donations then get funneled directly to our chapter on-campus account, which helps fund our marketing, on-campus food for programming, et cetera. So that is a workaround.
That's
It's
kind of what
just-
we've been doing.
It's just really, really difficult
Yeah.
because of the high turnover rate with chapter leadership to maintain a successful 501c3.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. So I just want to be respectful of time for all of you all. Thank you so much for coming out today, and thank you again for coming to NatCon. So a big round of applause to all of our chapter leaders in the room. Of course, the programs team knows you do amazing work, and We're grateful for all the hard work you do for your not just for your chapter leaders and your chapter members, but also your student veteran population. We're grateful for everything you all do. So thank you so much. And we'll see you all tonight at the military ball.
And again, email us at programs@studentveterans.org if you have any follow-up questions or need any help with anything else.
And if you want to see Finding Your Chapters Why, that's the next breakout session I'm doing that's also just in here.
Nice, you get to
I get to just sit here and do nothing. It's going to be great.